Being able to tap into the energy of the natural world is undoubtedly one of the most important aspects of using psychedelics. In fact, I think that is what taking psychoactive substances is mainly about. Becoming one with the organic world of animate and inanimate elements of our reality is impossible to achieve in any other way, and if you have never tried psychedelics, out of all the benefits, that would be the one definitely worth exploring. The fact that everyone who takes psychedelics experiences this divine connection is in itself an amazing supernatural phenomenon that should have been explored scientifically long time ago. Once you start your trip, the sense of unity with the surrounding green macrocosm will be the first effect that you'll notice long before any hallucinations or visuals. All the plants around you will change colors and will become evidently alive. You will realize that the sound of leaves rustling in the wind is actually the language that plants use to communicate with the world. You'll notice that their appearance is not as random as you thought before, and their movements will start to resemble those of a living entity. You will gain organic insight into the world of nature that will change how you see your place in this reality, and it's very common for first-time psychonauts to permanently shift their perception of earthly existence due to the newly gained awareness of nature's transcendental properties. In fact, one of the most frequent trip reports I receive from you is about conversations with the earth spirit that many of us call Mother Gaia. An interesting fact is that most psychedelic entities do not appear to have a gender, but every time anyone speaks to the god of nature, it's a woman. And it is also portrayed like that in all folk tales, traditional fairy tales, and fables. Mother Gaia's purpose of metaphysical communication mostly seems to be about educating everyone who can get in contact with her about the place of humans in this earthly world, and very often she's giving instructions and even warnings on how important it is for us to respect and understand that realm which is so apparent yet so shockingly invisible to most humans. Those who have been watching 434 videos for a long time, you'll remember that I've already made 3 videos on that subject. In the video on animals, I explained how I received messages about them being a part of the same energy and our need to re-evaluate the hierarchy of organisms on this planet because of our ignorance and the way we treat animals here. In the video about the gifts from the bee queen, I talked about the incredible metaphysical journey that opened my eyes to the hidden world of insects. And if you remember, I also made a video about my conversations with trees that gave me an understanding that they are alive and have personalities like us, forming communities and families. If you enjoy these videos, please become one of the generous and selfless sponsors of 434. You can become a member of Patreon or Subscribestar, or you can say thank you with PayPal, CashApp, and bank or cryptocurrency transfer. These videos are watched by thousands of people, but only thanks to a few generous contributors I can continue uploading these messages. Please consider joining them to help this channel grow. Visit the shop to buy a t-shirt or schedule a donation-funded chat with me. All links in the description. Thanks a million. After getting all of these messages about Gaia from you, one thing became clear to me, and that is that nature, unlike the human world, is a part of the metaphysical world. Nature is a direct expression of the energy. In one of my visions, I was shown that everything that humans create is stripped out of the metaphysical aspects of this realm, and the way machine elves showed me that was by asking me to look at the buildings and human architecture where we were making sure that plants are never a part of our conglomerated constructions. To the entities, it appears that humans in fact fight nature, that which is the most basic and most fundamental in our existence. I was told that this is why humans are off their developmental path, and this is how they destroy this reality. We are detached from the essence of our existence, and unfortunately, I received a message from the entity saying that we don't understand that Earth is a living organism, with its natural parts like plants, water, and living organisms being its organs, and us representing the disease and bacterial colonies of that precious and sacred structure. This was shown to me once in a visual that I never explained here in detail. I was asked during my trip to leave the house to learn a lot of important lessons, and on my way to a nearby field, I was asked to stop at a gas station where machine elves explained to me how the human world exists in conflict with the natural world. An average person will look at a city and will think about it as a natural human construct, accepting it as their natural environment. I bet this is what most of us look at our human world as. We treat nature's elements like lawns and trees as an additional feature of our environment that we allow to exist in our concrete habitat, not paying much attention nor respect to it. We don't see anything wrong with these typical facilitators of human life like skyscrapers, shopping malls, and landfills. The entities allowed me to see the natural order of earthly life the way it really is, and when I was standing in front of the gas station, they switched off my ability to see human structures as natural. And in that moment I realized that humans are aliens intruding on an infinite ocean of plant and animal life. When I was allowed to see the human world from nature's perspective, I realized that we're not only violating physical organic space, but we're also polluting that world with pervasive lights and noise. I saw that gas station as if someone ripped sacred elements from the ground and constructed a demonic form, purpose of which is only to extract more resources from the already damaged victim. It looked really evil with its unnecessarily bright artificial lights and invasive cacophony of digital noise. The whole formation looked like an invader robot from another world. Not a single thing about that machine felt neutral to its surroundings. The shape and colors were unnatural, the type of activity and commotion it was attracting felt very wrong, and the whole thing just seemed completely out of place, breaching the unspoken contract of mutual respect and exchange of services we must have agreed to coming into this world. It looked like a grotesque machine for frivolous whims of a highly insensible and obnoxious species whose only purpose is to ruthlessly consume and dispose. You should have seen me standing there in the middle of the field, horrified for the first time seeing human world for what it really is. I was allowed to talk to a tree about the toxic effects of our destructive conquest and see it through the eyes of every living organism on this planet, and what I saw was a horizon filled with inventions much worse than that one. And the worst part of the message from the entities was that we're destroying that which is generously and selflessly feeding and supporting us. The most tragic part of that vision was that all of this felt really unnecessary and very easy to fix with very little effort. I felt ashamed to be a human that night as I realized that there is nothing natural about the human world. The biological elements criminally implanted into our concrete reality are actually little slaves of the natural world, and we are fooling ourselves that this imitation of coexistence can absolve us from the sins of sadistically encroaching on the sacred order of the organic world. With every construction of suburban piece of real estate that we unnecessarily expand with, there should be a big apology ceremony taking place where we're begging for forgiveness for endless violations of the natural order of earthly life, respect of which we haven't earned yet. In another message, I was told that we force ourselves to adapt to a life in these artificial glass and concrete arrangements that are purposefully disconnected from nature and any form of organic life. I was shown how this broken reality forces our brains to deploy numbing mechanisms of limiting awareness to defend itself from the constant sensory overload, eventually resulting in submission and acceptance of the abnormal and damaging environment. You can only imagine how many mental and physical diseases must be a result of being forcefully immersed in the endless sea of electromagnetic fields, dirty electricity, unbreathable air, and constant audiovisual assault of distorted noise and light frequencies. I was shown how we live in creations of sick minds, only to sooner or later become sick ourselves. The beautiful thing about psychedelics is that they allow you to reset your environmental perception to default state. On one of my trips, I decided to leave my room while visiting a big city I used to live in, and as soon as I stepped outside into the noisy street, I realized how extremely detached I am from the human world in that state. People around me appeared loud and pretentious, their behavior felt exaggerated and nonsensical, and I could see the biological energy of a nearby park being disturbed and violated by the damaging, meaningless human activity around it. I felt more connected to nearby trees than to my fellow bipedal hominids who appeared to be too primitive and too self-absorbed to understand the consequences of their irrational behavior. I saw myself disconnect from that sick world I was no longer a part of and go back to my true nature of belonging to Earth's divine energy, going back to my room to continue receiving messages from the metaphysical. I get many trip reports from people who experience the same sensations on psychedelics, and many of them share similar visions and messages in which it becomes clear that the natural world is metaphysically superior to the human world. After years of reading the descriptions of contact with Mother Gaia and other gods of the organic world, it appears that nature is not only directly connected to the source, the energy, or the creator, but that it is a divine expression of it. And because our relation with nature is abusive, exploitative, or recreational at best, we don't get to see that this pure and wild realm of nurturing and endless gifts decides about our faith. This was confirmed the very same night as I left my room to see the city. I was told by the entities to connect with the plants at the back of the building I was staying in by grabbing their leaves. It was a transcendental moment in which I felt my human energy and knowledge being uploaded to the biological world and then forwarded to another realm. It seemed that this was done to help the entities in the organic dimension to make a decision about us. I was not informed about the outcome of the upload, but at that moment it felt important and necessary to human future. And given all the reports of animal and insect gods that we all talk to, it appears that nature has the upper hand when it comes to making decisions in the metaphysical dimension. After all, many of these insect or animal entities we talk to know us better than we know ourselves. Humans have the tendency to obey and worship invisible man-made gods, idols, and concepts, but somehow they can't notice and appreciate nature. The irony is that the visible natural world they are so oblivious and cruel to is in fact the embodiment and personification of those elusive and invisible gods. And if humans only wanted to listen, they would hear the voice of the divine speaking with every whisper of a stream and every chirp of a bird. Humans don't see nature as a shared community they belong to that they need to respect, but rather they see it as a commodity they own that can be freely disrespected, exploited, and mistreated in the name of insignificant momentary gratification. It seems that humans don't understand that our relationship with the biological world is not about rewards or punishments, but about consequences. Throughout history, humans had to fight nature in order to survive. But now it is obvious that to continue to exist, we must protect nature. It does offer enough to fulfill everyone's personal needs, but there's not enough resources on Earth to satisfy everyone's personal greed. The natural world is the most precious thing we have, and we're completely dependent on it. But now we can see that it's changing, and it's not because of some made-up theory of gases that we're emitting with every breath. It is changing to protect itself against human consumer and corporate ruthlessness. Nature is our home, and not an occasional place you get away to escaping the toxic human lifestyle. Yet no one seems to be worried about this as much as they are worried about the threat from artificial intelligence. It seems incomprehensible to humans that in order to understand how AI works, first they need to sit down and learn how a flower works, as we don't even have a fraction of a % of the knowledge required to grasp the intricacy behind the functioning of the biological world. In order to understand ourselves and the place we live in, all we need to do is look deep into the natural world, as nature will teach us how to be complete, how to be connected, and how to be human. Every sunset and every sunrise is a constant reminder of your place in this realm and an invitation to accept who you are. The natural world is an unlimited source of beauty and harmony to those who want to pay attention and those who want to learn how everything in nature is an expression of oneness and how nothing exists in isolation. Nature holds the key to every aspect of our spiritual existence, and the shortest way to outer dimensions is through the forest. Love, 434. I will continue discussing nature in my regular podcast I record for 434 supporters, so if you wish to hear more, join Patreon or Subscribestar or donate through methods listed on the screen and in the video description. Thank you for your thoughtful gesture. Subscribe and follow. Like and share this video. For merchandise, go to shop.b434.com. Leave your email address at news.b434.com. Visit the website of the artist and the musician I featured here. For more info or contact, visit b434.com and join 434's social media on YouTube, Facebook, BitChute, Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, and VK. Talk to each other on Reddit, Discord, and Telegram. All links in the video description.